Hello, I'm Daniel Salazar, and I'm Technical Director at Pataz Animation. My talk is Pataz Animation, a different way of working together, but I think it should be Pataz Animation, a different way of working together. Because the purpose of this talk is to increase the collaboration between us, the Blender community. First, I wanted to go through just a single slide about how things are at the moment. So yeah, famous words right now. I won't say any negative things about most of them. I will just say that things right now have definitely changed. Definitely 5 years ago, we wouldn't believe how things are right now, especially with AI or the blockchain and so on. So that's basically my point with this slide. We live in a different world right now. And of course, we know about the layoffs and flow of bad news. But what I want to take note here is that this is not really new, but this time there might be something new. So there's a quote I wanted to highlight, and it says, some workers have been told that the studio hopes to return to normal in 2025, but it is unlikely that it will grow to its current size. So it might be a bit more permanent than the instability that we are used to normally. Why? Because studios are shifting away from full in-house productions and instead are outsourcing part of its production to third-party studios. Anyway, so what are the options for us, the workers? Usually there's 3 options, I think. So we can be a freelancer, which is great because we have freedom. However, there can be times where there's so little work, we get super stressed. And the projects that we can take on are limited, of course, because we are a single person. Then we can be an employee at a studio. Well, of course, if the studio doesn't get enough work, they might lay off us. And there's also the fact that you have to live in the city where the studio is. Most of the time, those cities are maybe expensive to live. And you cannot choose your projects. You have to do whatever they put you on, right? And then you can build your own studio. Well, this is a lot of responsibility. You need to guarantee wages for your workers, and it's vulnerable to the market. And there's a lot of overhead on it. There's nothing wrong with any of this. We, as a team, have been part of all of them. We have been all of those. And we are actually collaborate with all of those types right now. But we thought, what if there's a 4th option? What if studios became communities of freelancers instead? This is kind of embarrassing, but this is how we call ourselves internally. It doesn't matter, but we say we're a super freelancer. So what a super freelancer is really is a decentralized team. Or in other words, maybe an open studio. We are really all over the place, so really decentralized. This is how it's looking right now, and this is the people we mostly work with. So as you can see, all over the place. I'm in Costa Rica. Sarah Sarah and Bjorn they're not in the middle of the ocean, but almost. It's like Africa, then the second piece of land, that'll be Madagascar, and then there's something called Reunion Island. That's where they are, for some reason. And then we have started growing naturally, organically, and we have been working with freelancers. So, for example, we worked with this guy, Orlando. He's a great 3D modeler from Costa Rica. And recently we discovered Ash. She is insane at geometry nodes, makes me feel stupid all the time. And the cool thing is that this not only applies to freelancers, but recently we found that our method also applies to collaborating with other Blender studios. So, for example, a couple years ago at the Blender conference, we met Dave from Real Good Liars from UK, and we've been working with them. And Shout from Costa Rica, friends of mine from university, work together all the time. So in essence, working through communities allows for more collaboration and less competition. That's what we think. There's some common denominators between us. We're kind of free souls, so even though we have all worked in studios and so on, we always liked or gravitated to the freelance lifestyle, to be able to live whatever we want, and so on. And more importantly, we got inspired by the open source developing methods for its transparency and knowledge sharing philosophy. So normally, you will agree that studios or even freelancers are very protective of their IP. Anything that gives you an advantage as a freelancer or as a studio, I want to keep that to myself. And especially clients. You would never want to share your clients because, that's what gives you some sort of security, maybe? And we thought, what if we don't? What if we kind of share, like Blender does? Blender is very successful, and it's all open. It's all in there. So what if we start opening up our network, our tools, our knowledge, which we think teaching is great. When we find someone that we want to work with, we will train him in the ways that we need him to work with or the like. And of course, what unites us more also is loving the Blender community. We think the Blender community is just full of awesome and warm people. This is a picture of Blender Conference 2022, some of us there, and then some known faces. Okay, so if we're gonna work with the community, we have to be part of the community. And in the open source world, being part of the community kind of means finding a way that you can help in some way to the project or the people in the community. So a couple of examples. Interestingly, 10 years ago on April, so not exactly today, but April 26th, 2014, Pataz organized the first Blender conference, but in Costa Rica. So those are the first two pictures on the left. It was pretty cool. We never did it again. Maybe we should do it again soon. Then we have been teaching. So in the middle, there's some of our old students. And it is so cool to teach because even, so honestly at the time we got hired to teach other things, but we kind of put Blender right in there because why not? And some of those kids are now full-on professionals working with Blender and making a living, which is the greatest feeling. And yeah, there's Bjorn and Sarah teaching in an even smaller island called Mauritius. This is pretty cool. Also, active in the community. Then if you have other technical skills, or even as a user of Blender, we really encourage you to participate in development. So to your left, we have the bug tracker. I personally really believe in the book tracker. I'm very proud to have submitted almost 600 books in my Blender life, which, yeah, I think it makes a big difference to the quality of Blender, and this is something that we all can do, no matter if we are technically oriented or not. And to your right, this is us just, we kind of put our own funds to visit the animation workshop a couple of years ago, we wanted to make sure that we could give our input in the future animation projects in Blender. Speaking of projects, so now let's talk about the team building part. For us, we think that a team is not tested until your first projects, of course. And for us, it was amazing that we started working on short films. Short films are different than collaborations because you have to do everything. So from start to finish, from concept to the final compositing, even if your short is really simple, we really encourage you to test your studio or your team by doing a complete thing, right? So this is a couple of examples of what we have done. Mind the date, 2011. It's really old, but I still like it. I just like it. This was our very first project as Pataz, and yeah, from concept to render and Blender internal for the win. No ray tracing inside. Yeah, it's pretty cool. This was another short made entirely by our team, small team. With this, we experimented with the initial versions of Grease Pencil and VR and modeling techniques. And we have a video. All right. The next one with the Jaguar was fun because it was made with the very first Cycles release. So there were no textures. Cycles released with just geometry and shading. So we had to do the spots of the Jaguar in geometry, which was helpful because then we decided to, yeah, it was. Oh, this was for our entry for Cosmos Laundromat. Rest in peace. 2D stuff, early 2D stuff. So yeah, if it's complex or simple, it doesn't matter. We really encourage to do entire little productions. Okay, so we had the great opportunity to work on some open movies. Sintel, Caminandes, Cosmos, and Glass Half. This is great because there are not many studios out there that really commit themselves to fully open source pipelines, which is perfectly fine. But I mean, it's just a great experience to have this experience of everything open source. It's super interesting, and it really changes your mentality. Freelancing. So this is another part. If you want to be a team that helps others, you have to work with others, right? So these are all productions that we have worked with other studios, large and small. And these are productions that we have worked in a completely remote way. So as you saw in the map, so we just on our time zones, crazy time zones, we just woke up and worked, and then wrote down like, okay, I left it here, and then the other wakes up and continued, and it's a super interesting experience. Time zones suck, obviously, but you have to be able to work with them. Along the years, we have identified a few benefits of working in this way, like really collaborating. So really, it's very different if you have to hire more people for a project. It's very different to hire a team that already has experience working together in previous projects, because you know how to work together. You know your strengths, you know your weakness, you know who to ask for something. So if you're just finding the best freelancers you can find, but they have never worked together, it will not be the same or as efficient. There's like a period of getting there. As a team, we can take on bigger projects. Also, often we are just busy. So we don't like to say no to projects, especially if they're very cool projects. So what we do is just bounce work, share our clients. And this works because if I share a client with you, then later maybe you share a client with me. Clients have specifically told us they love to hire us because it's simpler. Because of what we said. A team is just like killing multiple birds with one stone. And we provide a complete set of skills. For example, I cannot, for the life of me, do anything that requires a Wacom, like texturing or scope. Don't put me in there, but we have people for that. And the time zones, yes, time zones are horrible, but in some occasions, our clients have needed immediate response to something, and being in different time zones means that some of us has to be awake. So let's go to the cool part, talk about some of the projects that, so this is what we're doing right now. Short films is what we did in the beginning, but now we have focused on helping larger studios as a team. So we come in when the studios need an extra hand, and when we're done, they just kick us, which is how it works. This was Mars Express. This was the first time that we worked completely as a remote team. This is a feature film from France. It's on some cinemas. Personally, we worked on this 3 years ago, and I haven't seen it myself. I think Luciano saw it on Annecy, but I still haven't had the opportunity. But we worked on about 30 robots. We rigged and animated and did some other line work. And also, Bjorn developed a crowd tool for Gaussian. So there are scenes where many robots, and the crowd tool is developed by us. And we have, I mean, it's not fully composited, but you can see a little bit of it here. There you go. So yeah, it's not a composite. The movie is in 2D with 3D elements rendered in NPR style. So all of those robots rigged and animated by Pataz. All right. So the line, we love this studio from the UK, very famous for their amazing 2D animation style. And we have helped them a couple of times. One of them is Chiaki's Journey, which was is a picture above. I'll show you in a second. Then the line experiment below, which is an experimentation on NPR rendering, more of like a brush style. So it looks like painterly. And yeah, lots of grease pencil rigging, which is a nightmare, but it's getting there. NPR styles, freestyle, and so on. Let me show you what we did with Chiaki's Journey. Right. There you go. So we did the cars. Not everything. We rigged and animated the cars and freestyle line work and grease pencil. The cars in this shot were super cool because since the animation style is very cartoony, of course, 2D, the cars had to deform. So I had to rig the cars in a way that you can smear them. And yeah, it's pretty cool. The line is awesome. This is another award-winning test for the style. Should I just click on it? Yes. Kind of goes in a loop. Credit goes to Antoine, the art director, for developing this style of rendering. This was pretty challenging. This was for a pretty big monster. So you may notice this is from Transformers, the latest movie. And the big challenge here was we actually received the models from the movies, which were huge. Millions and millions of polygons each robot. And that was not the hard part. The hard part was with the texturing. They really go nuts with the texturing. So we're talking thousands of 8K UDIMs per character. It's insane. We had a hard time figuring how to convert this into low poly models. Actually, I hit a problem with Blender. I wrote a documentation on the DevTalk forum about what specifically would need to be fixed to deal with these UDIMs. Sadly, no developer has like extra time, but if there's a developer listening to this, I would love to talk to you. Because this means that Blender really can't import these large assets from productions. You have to do a lot of stuff to fix the shortcomings. And I mean, it's not that it's going to be easy to fix, but it's silly, the problem. Anyway, here's how it looks in real time. So this is...
You've never faced anything like this. Let them come.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And we're all safe for the moment here in Houston. Be sure to check out Transformers Rise of the...
All right. Thank you. This one was super cool. This was last year. And so we got contacted to supervise rigging and supervise animation on this 4-episode TV series called Ghosts of Ruin. You can see some of the teasers on YouTube. And challenge here was the number of rigs. So hundreds of rigs, about, I don't remember quite, but like 60 characters and many more rigs, vehicles, props. So when you have to do hundreds of something, it changes things, right? It was based on Rigify, but really modified. But super cool. To be honest, Be-Water has a fantastic team already of riggers and everything else. And if you needed riggers some past year and didn't find them, we had them all. Yeah, it's some sort of NPR style too. Very popular NPR these days with drone effects. I love that. Oh, the tentacles, I remember those. All right. So what's for the future? This one comes naturally as we go working and hitting problems. We like to develop our fixes. So, for example, we have 2 tools. One of them is rigging tools. This is developed by me. It kind of works with Rigify and streamlines the rigging process. Every time I have to rig, I add a little bit into it. This is available on Blender Market. And the other one is Pataz Animation tools. This is developed mostly by Bjorn. Bjorn and Sarah are mostly the animators. And this is available on GitHub. So go find it and please give us the feedback. And we have found two cases in the studios. Some studios really have their pipelines figured out. So we just adapt to them. They just teach us how to do things and we do. But some others not so. Some others are really maybe starting with Blender. So pipelines are not there. So we decided in Pataz we're going to start building an open source pipeline that works for us, but we can also share with others. It's going to be open source, and if any of you are interested in collaborating, please talk to me later. And we already started, but it's in early development, something that we can share, we can give our clients if we need to. Okay. Right, quick, I'm almost there. So we have identified a couple of good practices on how to grow. Organically, don't force things. Project dictates growth. Focus on the cool projects. This becomes pretty obvious. If you do a certain type of job, you will get more of that type of job. So if you, sometimes you have to do some projects to just eat, but if you try to do the cool projects, you will have more work of that. Build relationships with other freelancers, collab with Blender-based studios. Teaching others is fine. Don't worry about spreading your knowledge, your hard-earned knowledge. Just teach others. It will be fine. Keep things simple and keep communication quite open. Most important thing, we want you to be part of Pataz. So let's collaborate. Let's add way more of these boxes in here. Pataz Animation on all the social networks. Thank you.